Hi, my name is Kat, or the Fair Librarian, and welcome to a new reading vlog. In today's reading vlog, I will be focusing on HRCYED, which is the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. It is hosted by Q from the channel Cordy. I would like to do one of these vlogs every month until HRCYED ends, so, well, realistically until June, because it's only a week in July. But so in that vlog, I would like to tackle the more time sensitive prompts. So that is the new releases. I always try to read the new release in the next month. So you have 60 days to read them, which gives me enough time. But so in this video, I'll be reading a book released in January, then the secret prompt for that month, and then any heritage months that may be happening, and then maybe something else. I think I'm also going to try to make sure that I finish one of the squares in every one of these videos, just to make sure I have progress. I mean, in the rest of my reading, I will finish squares accidentally. Earlier this month, I accidentally finished the disability square without really trying to. So things will get finished outside of this, but that way at least one square will be finished every single month. So for February though, technically it is Black History Month, but I will not be reading a book for that in this video, just because I plan to make a different video reading books by Black authors, and I could read one of the books that I plan to read for that in this vlog technically, but then I would have 4 in this one and then 2 in the other one, just with time constraints. That's how it worked out. And I thought a 3-3 was just a better divide. So yeah, you won't see that. There will be a vlog coming for reading book by Black authors, and one of those I will be reading for Black History Month, but that's just not in this particular video. But let's get into the books. So for my new release, for my January release, I actually I was planning to do something else, but I just had a harder time getting access to it. So at one time I was randomly just scrolling through the ebook app from my library, and they had a book that came out in January that was available straight away, so I randomly picked it and actually already started reading it, and that is How to Commit a Post-Colonial Murder by Nina McConigley. I won't go into this now because, as I said, I already started, so at the end of this clip I'll just get back to this, but I'll first finish talking about the books that I'll be reading. For the secret prompt for February is that we need a book with a color in the title. And well, it's a bit more complicated, but that's essentially what the prompt is. But the book I'll be reading is All Systems Red by Martha Wells. I can't hold up the book. I can't start it yet because someone at my library borrowed it. Rude. So I, read it when I have it, obviously. But the first book in the Murderbot Diaries, which I'm excited for. I've been wanting to try the series. I don't know if I'm gonna love this series. I don't think I'm not gonna love it either. It's it could go either way, but yeah, I am excited to have tried it and know what everyone's talking about. So that is that. And then for finishing a square, I'm gonna finish off the spooky creatures square. The only book I have left for that is the Magic User, and for that I will be reading The Very Secret Society of Irregular, which is by Sangu Mandanna, which is a fun cutesy fantasy that is often compared to The House in a Cerulean Sea, which I really liked. And I'm reading this for a book club with some IRL friends. So great they got this in. So that's a TBR. I'm pretty excited. Also, they're all pretty short books. Because like Also Since read as a novella. Very Secret Society is a little over 300 pages, and this is somewhere in the 200s. So yeah, fairly short but sweet, hopefully. I'm excited. But then I already said I had started How to Commit a Postcolonial Murder. I'm a quarter of the way through, and I'm quite enjoying this. So this is a literary fiction question mark. I'm not sure what genre I would put on here. It sounds like a mystery. It's not really. The title, sounds like a mystery, but it's not that. So we are following a girl whose name is Georgie. I believe she's like, I think she's a teenager. Her age is never like explicitly mentioned, but like context clues. I think she's a teenager. She is mixed race, half white, half Indian, and she lives in the United States, in this town that is predominantly white people. So we follow her and like the struggles that kind of come with that, but also the family dynamics, because she doesn't only live with her parents, but also her aunt and uncle and cousin live with them. And stuff happens that end up leading to her and her sister, Agatha, killing their uncle. And we sort of see the lead up to that. Well, I'm not sure when in the book exactly the murder takes place, but I'm going to assume that it's like pretty far into the book. But we know from like the start that it happened. And yeah, it's a very interesting book. Content warning for child sexual abuse. It's not described on page, but it's hinted at least so far. So just be aware that's in there. Yeah, I'm liking this. It is very voicey. Georgie is it's a first person narration, has a pretty specific voice. She's very like, oh, you want to hear my story? Yeah, well, okay, sit down, I'll tell you my story. Oh, but I'm mixed race, so you're gonna expect a few things. That's literally the first chapter. You're gonna expect a few things to hear in this. So how about just list them now, so we get that out of the way, and then I can tell you the story how I want to tell it. Okay, cool, here is your list. And it's, I don't know, I really like it. It really works in this particular story. Structurally, it's a bit wishy-washy. It's very associative in its structure, which I tend to like. Like it's not messy. It doesn't feel messy, but there's also not like a clear, defined structure in how the story is told. It's not quite linear either. So I do like that as well. What I'm also liking, so far we sort of see things that happened before, and in Agatha, Georgie's sister, we sort of see some elements that were kind of early signs of her. I'm not gonna say early signs of her going to kill her uncle, because like you can't really predict such a thing, but like with those in the back of your mind, like her killing her uncle is not that far of a stretch. And I feel like she is the one who like came up with it and really dragged Georgie into it and sort of almost manipulated Georgie into it. But Georgie isn't aware quite to what level that is the case, which I think is very interesting and I'm really enjoying. So yeah, I'm really liking this. I'm going to continue reading this, and I will talk to you when I have another update. Okay, I've read some more in How to Commit a Post-Colonial Murder, and I am 50% in, and I'm enjoying this. It is definitely a very angry narrative. Like I mentioned before, like the list of things that white people would expect to be featured in this story. You know, like there have been other moments that have been like this very sarcastic, like angry, sarcastic tone directed towards the reader, which is actually quite fitting for the story. We also have a bit of element of like mixed media in this book, because like every once in a while there will be like these quizzes, like those quizzes like if you have A the most, then that means this, and if you had B the most, then it means this, and stuff like that. Those types of quizzes throughout the book that then sort of tie into what is going on, which I think is kind of fun. So yeah, I do really like the way that this book is told. There isn't really a plot though. I feel like yes, we know that we're kind of working up towards this murder, but I already mentioned the very like wibbly wobbly structure. We're kind of telling certain things that don't necessarily build on one another directly or don't really form a narrative, but somehow in some way tie back to this murder happening. So if you need a lot of plot in your books, I don't think that this will work for you. I was actually coming at a point where I was like, okay, I really need something to happen because it was kind of starting to drag a little bit, but then some like advancement got made in the murder thing, and so I hope that it kind of like now keeps up a little bit more with stuff happening, because like it was a lot of just telling things that weren't uninteresting in of themselves, but as I said, felt like they were starting to drag a little bit. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this so far. I will probably finish it today, actually. I have a train ride to do, so I'll read a decent chunk of the rest, because it's a pretty short book as well, so it doesn't take long to read, and then read the rest of it tonight. But yeah, I am really enjoying this. I have also started the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I am 20% in, and I'm loving this so far. So in this book, we are following Mika, who is a witch. And there is, well, it's set in our world, but there's also witches, but they keep hidden. We have this sort of this one witch called Primrose, who's not officially the leader, but she is very bossy, and she positions herself as the leader of all witches, who is kind of enforcing this. And so Mika has, she's also been raised by Primrose, because all witches are orphans because of a certain curse or something that causes parents to die very soon when a witch is born. So Mika was raised with these very strict rules in order to hide who she is, hide her identity from the rest of the world. She keeps moving from place to place. She doesn't stay in one place for too long. And all the things that sort of give her a pretty lonely existence, because she doesn't really connect with other witches, because that's not allowed, and also doesn't really connect with non-witches, because what if they find out, right? She does, however, have this YouTube channel where she posts witchy videos, or is it TikTok? I'm not sure, maybe both. I don't know. She's like a witchy influencer. She's not super big or anything, but that is something that she does, with the idea of like, no one's gonna believe I'm actually a witch. Like, there's a bunch of people doing this. They're just gonna think I'm faking it like all the other ones. Except, there's one person who sees right through her, who works at Nowhere House, which is this house where 3 young, orphaned obviously, because of the curse, witches live, and they're looking for a tutor in witchcraft. And so they contact Mika and say, hey, can you come teach these girls? And Mika's like, how the fuck do you know I'm a witch? And yeah, we're following that. Where I'm at, she like just accepted the offer and is like, well, she went there once before to like hear what they had to say, and then she had to go get her stuff, and now she's back at the house where she's gonna be moving in, meeting the girls as well. And yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it. We have this young woman who herself had this very lonely upbringing, and sort of, she doesn't really want to do this, but she also doesn't want these young girls to have to grow up the way that she did, and so that's why she accepts it, which I really liked. These girls, they're adopted by this archaeologist who's also a witch, and they're each named after big archaeological discoveries. But like, Rosetta, I get as a name. Altamira, fine. But the third one is called Terracotta, which, like, you named a kid Terracotta? Seriously? Like, there were no other big discoveries that you could have named her after. You chose Terracotta? Okay. So, yeah. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't like that name. Oh god, no. But yeah, we're sort of gonna get this found family between like Mika and then the 3 witches and then the 4 adults that are already present in the house, who are, Ian, the one who found out she's a witch, and then Ian's husband, Ken, and then the housekeeper, Lucy, and the librarian, Jamie, and they're sort of setting up a romance between Jamie and Mika. Like, from the moment that they met, Mika immediately like finds him physically attractive, which I don't know if I love that in a story like this, because it is like very like sweet and wholesome and cutesy, and so I wished that for this, we would opt more for a romance where the emotional connection comes first, and then that sort of turns into a romantic slash sexual one, rather than them feeling, or her feeling physically attracted straight away. I think that both romances definitely have its place in literature, but I think just for this book, I would find the emotional first romantic sex, emotional first romantic slash emotional first romantic slash sexual second, a little bit more fitting for the rest of the story. So that's just my preference for this particular book. But yeah. But so far, I'm really enjoying it. I mean, just enjoying the witchy stuff. Like, she has this pond that she, like, stuffed in her car. Like, a whole pond. And then she got it out and, like, hey, you have room for me to put this somewhere? And everyone's like, that's a pond floating through the air. And she's like, yeah, where can I put it? So, yeah, just, like, some really funny thing like that. It's a very funny narrative. As well. Like, the way it sort of switches in a first chapter, it starts with, like, Mika being reprimanded by Primrose that she does these witchy videos. And she's like, oh, no one believes that I'm a witch. Right, and then the narrative says, it was unfortunate for Mika, then, that at that precise moment, over 500 miles away, in a big house, in a quiet, windy corner of the Norfolk countryside, a skinny old man in a magnificent rainbow scarf and enormous fluffy slippers was saying exactly the opposite. And then we switch to, like, the house where they're like, she's a witch, we have to contact her for the girls. Like, just little jokes like that, which I'm just really enjoying and I'm really appreciating. So yeah, I definitely loving this. I'm trying not to read this too quickly because I'm reading it for a book club, and, like, I don't want to leave everyone behind because we're doing it on Fable, so we can talk every chapter, and I think at least no one has mentioned being this far just yet. But yeah, I am really enjoying this. And I do see the comps to House in the Cerulean Sea at this point. So, yeah. I'm having a fun time with my reading. And I will talk to you when I have an update. Okay. I have some updates. First, I have finished How to Commit a Post-Colonial Murder. I'll just put the cover on screen because that way we have it in color, which is maybe a bit nicer. But this, I have mixed feelings about it. I already mentioned that I really liked the voice. I really liked the structure of it. It's something that I really enjoy. And I do stick by that. I do think those were great. I like them a lot. But I don't think that this book fully worked. You sort of had three elements to this. So you had the sexual abuse, you had the mixed race side of the plot, and then there was also, especially in the second half, this tale of sisterhood. And I think there was this idea of being split, right? With being mixed race, you sort of split between white and Indian, and then the sisters being very close at first, but then separating, which kind of feels like a part of them is splitting off. And then with the sexual abuse, like, sort of this idea of your mind and your body not feeling, like, your body not really feeling your own anymore, and so your mind and your body kind of splitting. So I had that element to connect the three plot lines. They still felt very separate. They didn't come together at all, in my opinion. It felt like I was reading three books at the same time rather than one whole, which just left me with a really weird feeling at the end. Also, the title is How to Commit a Post-Colonial Murder, but the murder has nothing to do with post-colonialism. It sort of ties into that, right? These very separate plot lines where the murder doesn't tie in at all with the fact that they're mixed race. Like, those two things are completely separate from one another. I mean, they're obviously like related to the same person, and like each part of your identity sort of influences other things, but I don't think that calling it a post-colonial murder is accurate in the slightest in this case. And so, yeah, because of that, I'm a little bit frustrated because it could have been great. It could have been fun. There are some really great chapters in this, but it's just not one book. Or at least it doesn't feel like one book. There's also this one chapter. It's a pretty long one too. So it's it's not the longest in there, I don't think, but it's, like definitely longer than average for this book, about Jordy going to summer camp, and it's described in pretty big detail. Like, I think it's the most detailed passage in the entire book, and I don't understand why it was there. Like, you could take it out and it would impact nothing from the rest of the book. I don't understand it. It didn't have like a lot of meaningful commentary. I feel like, yeah, it had sort of the idea of, oh, we named this after a Native American, but like in a very, white people should be gracious to the Native Americans because they helped us, and it's sort of more that idea rather than, yeah, we committed genocide. I know, sort of like that energy. I feel like that at best, but even that wasn't really explored in that much detail, in my opinion. Or like that. I don't know. I just found that chapter really weird because it was the way it was written, it seems like it was a big part of the book, but it wasn't. Um, so this book just confuses me in what the author exactly wanted from it. And I think that she couldn't really decide what she wanted to write about or what she wanted to focus on. And so she tried to do everything, which just didn't work to me. So very mixed feelings because, as I said, I really liked the narrative voice. I really liked the sort of associative structure of it. Like, it wasn't really linear, but like very just go with the flow type of thing, which I like, as I already mentioned earlier in this vlog. So yeah, I give it 3 stars because I did like enjoy my experience with it, but my feelings after the fact, I just feel very unsatisfied by this book, which is really unfortunate. But so yeah, I read this. I used this for the new releases challenge for my January release. For now, I put it in BIPOC, but I might switch that to the quote because I need an A in the quote, like just the article. I was like, how to commit postcolonial murder. Um, I would maybe use it for that just because I haven't picked out a book for that. Because I thought, yeah, that's a really easy one to do. And I know that in my reading plans, I have more BIPOC authors and life spaces left in the BIPOC author challenge. So I might swap some of that challenge out for other challenges, depending on what does or does not fit certain things. So yeah, it might get switched around. We'll see. Then I'm still reading The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, but I haven't made that much progress since I last talked to you, so I don't really have anything more to say at this point. So I'll update on that one a little further. I do have another update though, because I said I was gonna read All Systems Red. Unfortunately, it's not available from my library currently, and it probably won't be before March. And especially with the secret prompts, there are on a time schedule. Like if it were if for example with the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, if that were the one that I only got access to next month, that would be fine. Because it doesn't really matter when I read it. But for this one it does. So I'm gonna have to just pick a different book for that prompt. And I do have the ebook of Silence Silver by Andrew Watson. Silver is another one of the words that would work for the prompt. So I think I might do that. It's a novella. It's a prequel to his fantasy series. I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure it's like one of those novellas that you get for free if you sign up to an author's newspaper. I think that's how I got this. But I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, it's been on my e-reader for a little while, so I might as well just read it. And it's not too long, so it's not a big problem that it's a bit of a curveball. But yeah, I am gonna read it. I don't know much about it. I will give more information once I've read it. I'll probably just read it in one go because it is a novella. But yeah, that is the update. And I will talk to you once I've finished Silence is Silver. Okay, I have updates for you. First, I read Silence is Silver by Andrew Watson, which was the prequel novella to his Shadowbinders series. So in this, we're following Bass, who is part of the Ordal, which is this tribe that is really focused on like strength, and they're warriors, and you need to be strong, and like especially individually strong, so they're not really fostering like helping one another. It has to be like you who do it. And they have this trial thing that everyone of a certain age has to go through, and then either they become like full-fledged Ordal, or they become unaged, who are like shunned and sort of the pariahs of this society. And it's this trial for Bass, now. So yeah, we're following that. And I really, really like this. Like, first, the writing style was really beautiful. And not beautiful in a sense, like usually when we talk about beautiful writing, we talk about like very flowery, bombastic, a lot of metaphors, stuff like that. It's not that. It's just Andrew Watson really paid attention to the sounds of his words. It's a lot of alliterations, which I love myself a good alliteration. But just like they sound really good together. Like the sentences and the words, which I do always appreciate when we have that. Like I noticed it more at the beginning, and then as the book went on and more action started to happen, the writing took a bit more of a backseat. But I don't mind that because, you know, like other stuff was happening that sort of became slightly more important than the way that the writing sounded. So I think that I really like how that was done. So yeah, love the writing style. The plot and character work were also really well done in here. The ending is quite sad. And just, yeah, made me really excited to read Harbinger of Justice, which is the first book in the first full-length novel in this series. So I think, yeah, that is what a prequel novella like this is supposed to do, and it definitely did that. So great. I really enjoyed the trial aspect of it. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the way this was executed. I don't want to say too much about it because it's only 50 pages. So when I can't say too much about it, but also I don't want to give away too much. Because yeah, I do definitely think this is worth a read. You can get it for free if you sign up to Andrew Watson's newsletter. So you can try it out for yourself, and then based on that, decide if you want to read the rest of the series too, which I am definitely gonna do sooner rather than later, hopefully. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think I'm gonna give it either 4 to 4.5. Like, just because, as I said, this is what the novel needs to do, but it's sort of, the effect it had was more, it makes me want to read more, rather than being a satisfying whole, which, again, is what these books, or these prequel novellas, are supposed to do. So I think that's well done, but because of it as a book, they're usually, like, it's not going to be a 5-star. You know, like, so yeah, I really enjoyed this. I do definitely recommend this. This was worth it. And then I got to the 50% mark of the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and I'm still really, really enjoying it. It is so cute and so funny as well. We have the romance sort of starting to develop where Mika and Jamie are kind of warming up to one another and bonding with one another, which is really fun. I expected to see more of the kids. Like, they're there, but I don't feel like I truly know them as such, especially Altamira. I don't really have a sense of her and her personality and, you know, like the type of person that she is, which I definitely hope will still happen in the second half, because right now it's definitely still the adults that are being developed more. But I do like it. I love the way that the spells and the magic are being used. So just like the whimsy of that without making it, it's still like a cozy thing. It doesn't feel like fairy tale-esque or anything, but the magic does feel very magical and whimsical, which I do like a lot. It is very slice of life, this story, but also it feels very fast-paced. Like, I was surprised about that. It feels a lot more fast-paced than I thought it would, and I wish it would slow down just a tad bit, just to like fully be able to sink into it. But those are really my only complaints about this. I'm really enjoying this. I'm really liking the characters and their dynamic. It's a found family trope, which I love. So yeah, I'm having a fantastic time with this book. I'm really glad that I'm finally reading it. I'm actually hoping to finish it today. I have about 150 pages left, so I think that's possible. But I would like to finish this vlog today, or if not today, then tomorrow morning. And I think that might be possible because I had planned to just be working today, but I don't have work to do. Like, my supervisor needs to give me stuff to do, and I emailed him like, hey, give me stuff to do, and he hasn't answered yet, which on the one hand is nice because that means I can read a lot, but if I can't work, I can't get paid, which is annoying. So yeah, it's becoming a very different day than I thought today would be. Like, I already cleaned the bathroom, which was kind of necessary, so it's good. I've been putting that off. So good that happened, but like, I just wanna work. But yeah, I'll just continue with reading and hopefully finishing the book today. So yeah, that is my update. I've been sort of, you may have noticed if you're watching my videos, like, I've been trying out a couple things when it comes to my vlogs and the way I do them and the way I talk about books. And I'm sort of trying to find out what works and what doesn't work, because there are definitely certain things that I really like the idea of and I like to do every once in a while, but I need more casual, like this type of vlog every once in a while, versus like the way I did the Kate vlog, for example, was more formalized. I don't know. It was more structured and less just chatting. Or that's at least how it felt to me. And I really like that I like watching those vlogs as well. I mean, I like watching the style too. It depends on my mood, but I like the idea of making those vlogs, but I don't know, I'm doing this as a hobby and for fun, and that's not always fun for me, the way this is. So yeah, I'm kind of trying to find how I'm gonna do things. I'm gonna be switching back and forth between stuff probably. But so yeah, it's kind of hard to find a balance between that. That gives the end result that I want and is just fun for me as I'm doing it. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. I will try and finish The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and then I'll come back and wrap up the vlog. Bye. Okay, so I have finished A Very Secret Society. of Irregular Witches, and I really, really enjoyed this. This was really beautiful. The second part was more emotional for me than the first half, because we have Mika, who has led this very lonely life where she's not really able to form connections with people, and that element, and the trauma coming with that, but also the way she grew up, it's explored more in the second half. And so that was pretty sad and really, touched me emotionally. So yeah, the second half was more sad, but then also, beautiful, like finding healing from that, finding community that can help you with healing from that, which I really, really enjoyed. Certainly in the second half, like the romance definitely took more of a focus. To the point where, like, I always thought of this as like a cozy fantasy with a romantic subplot, but the second half, I think you might call it like a fantasy romance. I think it's like sort of on that line there. But yeah, I really liked it. There is a plot twist though at the ending that kind of came out of nowhere for me. I When it just happened, I was like, wait, what? But I do think that it worked well for the way the book ended. So I don't think it was a bad plot twist. I just think it may have been foreshadowed a little bit more, because now it kind of came out of left field. Maybe it was. Maybe if I were to reread this book, I will notice a lot more than I did this time around. I don't know. But for this first time around, I felt like there weren't enough clues for me personally. So yeah, the ending was really beautiful, like especially like the last chapter, which is almost like an epilogue to the book. I thought that was really beautiful. I really liked the theme of, okay, maybe you can't make the world perfect and things won't change overnight, but you can contribute your little bit to making it a tiny bit better so that you open the door for people in the future to make it the way that you actually would want it to be. So I think that I really like that. So yeah, overall, a really good book. I think I'm gonna give it 4.5. I had a great time with this. And so yeah, I will be using this for HRCYED for the Spooky Creatures Challenge, for magic user, because that was why I read the book in this vlog, because that meant that I had finished the Spooky Creatures Challenge. And I'm also going to use it for a BIPOC author because Sangu Mandanna is Indian. So yeah, very happy that I finally read this. But so we got to the end of the vlog, so let's recap. I read How to Commit a Postcolonial Murder by McConigley, which had good elements, but ultimately I think that the different components of the book didn't come together at all. And so because of this, I feel very mixed about it. I gave it 3 stars. Then I read Silence is Silver by Andrew Watson, which I think was a very successful prequel novella, in a sense that it really made me want to pick up the rest of the series. So yeah, that was great. very fun, really liked it, gave it 4.5 stars. And then The Very Secret Society of Irregular Riches, which was very cute and wholesome and beautiful, also funny, and great exploration of themes of like finding your identity and being accepted for who you are and stuff. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give it 4.5. I also give this 4.5. So if I were to rank these, obviously How to Commit a Postcolonial Murder would be at the bottom, but between these two, I think I'm going to put The Very Secret Society of Irregular Riches first and then Sun and Silver second, just because The Very Secret Society of Irregular Riches touched me more emotionally, and you know, it is a standalone, so it like was more like a well-rounded whole, whereas the novella was meant to, you know, not be that, as it was a prequel. So just by virtue of like what each of the books were and trying to do, like The Very Secret Society of Irregular Riches, for me personally, like it'll probably stick with me a little better and is just more what I want from a book. Like what the project of the book is. You get what I mean. I don't need to over-explain myself. But so yeah, this was the video. I'll give you some stats of where I am in HRCYED. I'm at 122 prompts filled. That's not the amount of books, it's the amount of prompts filled, because you can use the same book for up to 2 prompts, and then there's also certain little extra things to do with the secret prompt or words. So I have 122 prompts filled out of an estimated 185, which is 65.95%. The estimated 185 is probably actually more than I'm going to need, because that is still with the assumption that I read more for my 24-hour readathon than I think I could probably read in 24 hours. So I'm probably further along than that, but we'll go with this number for now. In order to be on track for at the end of February, I have to read I have to have completed rather 66.67%, which will require 2 more prompts for me to hit that. So that's 1 book. So I'll definitely get there, because I am filming this outro on the 21st. So I still have, well, the rest of today and then 7 more days. So I still have 8 days. I can read 1 book in 8 days. So I'll be on track. I'll probably be ahead by the end of February, which is really nice. So yeah, I'm really happy. I'll put the bingo board up here. Certain things have changed since we last spoke. Like I've finished all the adaptations, I finished Disability Rep Challenge, and now I've also finished the Spooky Creatures Challenge, which I feel really happy about. So yeah, that was my vlog. I hope you enjoyed, and let me know if you've read any of these books and if you like them, and if you're participating in HRCYED, let me know how you're doing. So yeah, I hope to see you again in another video. Bye!